Hi there, welcome back to Pixel Juice. Today, Luke's been playing Prey, and we're going to give you a quick review about what you liked, what you didn't like. Luke asked me to do a bit of research and prepare some questions. I did none of that, because
standard.
But Luke has played it, so we'll dive right into his mind and see what he...
Yeah, I wouldn't go too far into my mind.
Dangerous place. Luke, you played quite a bit. Do you want to...
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Without giving too much away, could you maybe tell us a little bit about the story?
I would love to, Jordan.
Yeah.
I would love to. So, you start off as a character called Morgan Yu, which can either be a boy or a girl. Because
Morgan... Me?
Morgan Yu, yeah.
No, Morgan you.
Morgan me.
Is that not a non-binary option?
No, sadly not. Sadly
Okay.
not. You start off in this in your apartment. You think it's your apartment, but it turns out it's actually a research vessel called the Talos 1, which is set up to kind of research these new aliens that have been discovered. So you end up breaking out of your prison, I would say, which is your apartment, and you discover that your memory's been wiped, and you're going through these rigorous tests, and you basically wake up on the Talos, and that's it. Like, your adventure starts, basically.
The adventure begins.
And your objective is to basically either get off the ship, to find your brother, essentially, which is Alex Yu. It's a complicated story.
Complicated story.
Very
You heard it here
complicated
first.
story.
So, did you want to, what's the map layout like? Good level design?
Yeah, I mean, it's very reminiscent of Dark Souls in that way. The fact that you kind of go to one area and then do a little objective that unlocks the next area, and you've got to go back to the other area to get something, and, you do go through in sections, so there is a kind of linearity to it. Is that a word?
No.
So there's a lot of linearity to it, but in the same way you've got this big space station to explore, and you can kind of do whatever you want within reason. So
Can you do a kickflip?
you can do a kickflip, yeah.
Cool, that's sold.
You can go into space, which is...
And you're already in space.
No, you're in a space station, but you can actually go out on spacewalks, which is quite
cool.
fun. And there's only a certain area, but the ship is quite big. Like, it takes a while to traverse around it. But the spacewalks are a really good little aspect of it, because I wasn't expecting it at all. I'd not seen any gameplay about it. And you kind of get shot off into space, and you're like, oh, this is quite open, really. And being space.
Yeah.
And there's loads of little objectives that you wouldn't really find doing the main story. You kind of got to go to them yourself. Like, there's this shuttle that you find with loads of dead bodies in it, and there's a whole story behind that, and you end up getting
side
an
questing
objective
as well.
So yeah, side missions worth a try. I couldn't get through all the side missions because there's so many of them, and you just constantly pick them up. So you're walking around, you find like a little audio log, and you're like, oh, it's another one. You do go and kind of get a bit oversaturated.
Yeah, there's not many games I spend a lot of time doing side missions.
No, I mean, they are good. It's just there's quite a lot of them. I mean, some of the side quests do link into the main story as well, which is kind of fun to do. There are a lot of NPCs that you have timed side quests, which in order to save them you have to kind of get to them as quick as possible, seal a whole breach or something, and then your mission's over, but you've only got 15 minutes to do that, and if you don't, they die, and that affects your story.
I get you. But what about mechanically? How does it compete with other first-person shooters? It looks like a nice mix between. Looks like it's got some Overwatch elements, maybe Doom, Quake feel to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of elements from different games, I would say. So a lot of people have been comparing it to BioShock in space, which is essentially what it is. It plays out a lot the same.
Another game series I've not played.
It's terrible. So it looks kind of BioShocky in the way you pick up stuff and your item looting and things like that. It's got a bit of Deus Ex in there,
Hated that game.
Just the way the sneaking's involved and the hacking and stuff like that. And then the combat's kind of minimal. It's not really about run and gun. It's more about you kind of got to make your way through this space station and take your time.
Is that more like Dead Space then? I know Dead Space is combat
yeah.
heavy, but there's a lot of you can't just run through guns blazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of Dead Space elements in there as well, I'd find, and it does really work. I find it easy to get on with, and having played BioShock and games like that, it's easy to pick up these different elements and to be like, yeah, I can do all of this. I mean, there are tutorials, but you're kind of left to your own devices, really.
Yeah.
So kind of throws you into this environment. The weapons, they're actually, you start off with a wrench. That's your first weapon, which is kind of reminiscent of Bioshock in the same way. You get your wrench, and then you eventually come to pick up a goo gun. Morgan use goo glue. Morgan use goo glue. Yeah. That's my
Morgan
name for it.
use goo.
It's a kind of a suspect milky substance that hardens over time. But it's really good. Like, so you can use it to freeze your enemies, which kind of like goos them in place and glues them in place. Or you can use it to actually traverse around. So you're spraying it up against the wall, and you can use it as stairs and stuff like that. So if you need to get to a higher spot, there's many different ways you can go about it, which kind of adds to the diversity of the game. So you get your basic pistols and shotguns, which are all the weapons are upgradable as well. So I currently, like, by the end of the game, I had a shotgun that could take out the enemies in like one hit, which was really good. And you get this little thing called a hunter's bowcaster,
right?
Which is essentially just a Nerf gun because it fires like little Nerf bullets. But you can use it from a distance and like interact with objects. So you can like shoot it at a screen and it'll like press OK on the screen or something.
Right.
So if you're far away and you need to close the door, you just like
I get you.
So yeah, you get a thing called a Q-beam as well, which is just a beam of destructive power, which is quite fun. You get a stun gun, which can help with human enemies, which the telepaths will take over. And you can stun them and save them, or you can just destroy the crap out of them. I think there are a few secret guns as well, which I haven't yet discovered.
Because they're secret?
Because they're secret, and I'm not one to use walkthroughs.
He says that. He says that also.
I don't use walkthroughs.
I mean, I completed Dark Souls without a walkthrough.
Yeah,
you
I had to do
didn't.
Honesty and Smog for you.
Shut up.
So the way you kind of upgrade your weapons and the way you get ammo and stuff like that, 'cause there is no money in this game, which is fairly weird. You get these recyclers, which are, you just whack matter into them, so guns, like any crap you pick up, like baseball gloves and stuff like that, is you just whack it in and it will convert it all to like these little balls of goodness, like little research balls. And you use those to craft your ammo and to craft your guns and to craft like your neuromods and everything like that. So you kind of, resource collection is essential in this game. Like, there's no way about it. You need to pick up everything you can.
So I guess talking about the upgrading weapons, I noticed there is a skill tree in it. How is that?
Yeah, so and you get these things called neuromods, which are essentially big effing needles.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, that made me feel uncomfortable.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. I have a thing with. I'm not one of those people who could put a needle into my eye. Just something I could do. Just
not something that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, that bit did send.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific. So yeah, you get neuromods, which are essentially upgrade points, and you can use them in your skill tree. So you get three starter skills, which are like security, engineer, and something at science as well. So they'll upgrade your item capacity, your the way you can upgrade weapons, the firepower on the weapons, your overall health. But then you get abilities, which are kind of like Bioshock's abilities in a way. So there's 3 of those, but they all have their individual skill trees.
Right.
So you get stuff like electric power and force push and stuff like that.
Bioshock element that's come into it.
Yeah, and they can really help, but I didn't tend to use them as much as I thought I would.
No.
I was just using.
How much did you think you would use them?
Quite a lot, because
how
they
much
looked
did
very
you end up
interesting.
using them?
Not a lot.
No.
At all. No.
So what are the enemies like in the game? The good AI?
Yeah, I mean it's they're not scary. They're just kind of a little bit weird and a little bit horrible to come by.
It's like bumping into you at night.
Yeah,
not scary, but it's not enjoyable to bump into you.
It's a horrific experience all around, I think. I do my best work at night.
Yeah,
so they're called Typhoon. There's a few different enemy variants. They're all quite... Because there's not a lot of enemies, when you do encounter one, it's kind of, how am I going to take this guy out? So you get your mimics, which are like little spider head crab things, they can mimic like coffee cups and stuff like that. So you're always constantly walking around wondering whether one of these gangly, horrible things are going to jump out at you. Phantoms, which are kind of like humanoid-looking things. They can fire like electricity and force pushes and stuff like that. They've got all those powers. telepaths, which basically mess with your head. They're pretty horrific to come by.
How does that translate with them using their skills?
Yeah, I mean, they kind of, when you do walk into a room with a telepath, they kind of disorientate you, and your mind kind of, like, you kind of go a bit trippy and stuff like that, and they can fire bolts of energy and stuff at you as well. The good thing is about enemies, though, you do get, like, a little, like, camera thing that you can use on your head, so you press R3 to put it down. It's like a visor, and you gain research points through scanning these enemies and scanning different things, so this is the way you upgrade your powers.
Right.
So once you've scanned like a phantom, for instance, it will give you a specific power in that skill tree that you can then unlock with the neuromods, which is quite a good way of doing it, really, because it kind of forces you to encounter these enemies and to, you know, take your time researching them and take your time developing your skills that way. And there are a few other enemies, cystoids, which are like little balls of horrible destruction that just... They're like just ball bags. They're pretty gross, and they just kind of come at you and just explode all over you, like a ball bag would.
Like you know, ball bags are known for.
But they're horrible, and you get like nests of them, which you got to take out.
Ball bag nest. Familiar with them.
And the big one is the nightmares, which are, I would kind of say, like the big daddies of this game, and they kind of turn up when you've used too many neuromods, and they kind of sense you in that way, and they'll turn up. You can either escape from them or fight them. It actually comes up with an objective every time they turn up.
Right.
And they're like these big mammoth sort of things. Like, they give you a lot of resource droppings as well.
Resource droppings.
Just
gonna leave some resources.
It does look like when they die, they kind of like poo out what they like have on them. I found them really easy to kill. I was very disappointed by them.
Luke's so cool. Any game we've ever played, he's got to be the one who completes it first. And these hard bosses, first time, easy. It's classic Luke. But so if you're at home and you're struggling, don't worry, because he probably did too. He just won't admit it.
I'm just too good at games. That's the issue. I'm just far too good.
Does my head in. So we've listened to Luke drone on about Prey for quite a while now. I know I haven't enjoyed it personally, but hopefully you guys at home did. Luke, what was your final verdict for Prey?
Do you know what? I loved it.
Loved it?
Yeah, loved every minute of it.
Thought you were going to say that.
Yeah, well, you know, it was coming. It's been coming for a while.
So do you guys agree with Luke? Do you disagree with Luke? And will you be picking up the game? If you let us know down in the comments, we'd love to hear from some of you. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, please remember to like, share and subscribe. And congratulations to me and Luke for doing our first video about Sam. While the parents are away, the kids all play. And sometimes he hits us.
Yeah, he beats us mercilessly.
Send help.
I think.
Morgan used glue is fun for you to make.
To do. Yeah.
When you have the flu.
I like it. I think there's a hit song in there.